Welcome back. Now, it's time for us to go back to court. And I think this is going to proceed pretty much how we remember it from the demo way back when. But we're going to court. Hi, Mr. Mora. Cuthbert. Just review. We used a lot of this just to, really save her. Because Celeste was convinced that, her dad, real and truly, or at least in her grief, she was convinced that her dad, real and truly, hated her. Because of his hatred of magic, when she was never a burden on him. He did, in fact, love her. He was planning on apologizing to her after they got in their little scuffle. If anything, this might be a valuable clue to the fact that he wasn't dead at the time. He wasn't dead right then and there. No. Gonna be difficult because he was killed from behind. And it could very well be just the argument that Celeste came back and killed him. Mageblade, edges of the object. The big contradiction there, the big question there. Edges of the object leave magical traces. But the wound shows traces of transmutation magic, and the crime scene photo all around it shows traces of magic. Because the big they didn't clearly say it, but I think it's a safe bet that the hexagonal aura equals traces of magic. How did the investigation go? I feel more prepared at the very least. I don't know exactly what happened, but I have a clear picture of the crime scene. What did you find out? So, there are still no clues directly pointing toward another suspect. Have you been able to coax any new details from McCoy? She's already told me everything she knows. She's not the one who killed Flintheart, Mr. Moore. I'm sure of that now. You trust people far too easily, Cuthbert. You say that like it's a bad thing. It's going to get you hurt one of these days. People are never as innocent as they appear. Ooh. Does that include you? What? Commander White had a lot of things to say about you. Should I have listened to him? What are you trying to say? I'm saying that I'd never believed the rumors about you, not for a second. You saved me when I had nothing and taught me how to fight against the nobility. Everyone told me that you were a criminal. I wouldn't be here right now if I'd listened to them. Cuthbert. I'm not going to stop trying to see the best in people. Celeste is innocent, and I'll prove that to everyone, including you. You can be really stubborn sometimes, you know that? I get it from you? That seemed to get a chuckle out of her. Wish I could see the world the way you do, Cuthbert, but the truth isn't always what you want it to be. I know, but I'm not going to let that change me. Took a deep breath and readied myself. It's approaching the end game now. All I had to do was move the final pieces into place and end this once and for all. The bailiff led Celeste into the courtroom, and I followed closely behind them. Yeah, that's so extra. I love that. Court is now resumed for the trial of Celeste McCoy. Let us review the proceedings from yesterday. The defense presented some unfortunate oversights made during the investigation. I personally saw to it that the crime scene was thoroughly inspected this time. I see. I suppose that puts my mind at ease, if nothing else. Yesterday's crimes trial, we found an inconsistency between the crime scene photo and the autopsy report. So the defense argued that a third party must have interfered with the crime scene to frame the defendant. Including doubts may have, the individual who discovered the body has decided to testify today. Really? It was my understanding that they wanted to remain anonymous. The witness in question was within the gallery of the trial yesterday. After yesterday's proceedings, he felt that he couldn't stay silent any longer. Very well, let's hear from this witness. And there's you. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Ooh. Ooh, sorry. My name is Reese Reginald Rudolph. Chauffeur. ... Rudolph appeared to be writing something in a notebook. His pen glided across the page, filling in line after line within seconds. Mr. Rudolph? Forgive me. It's merely recording everyone present in the room. You're taking notes. I always keep clear and detailed records of my actions each day. I've heard that ordering the present naturally brings order to the future. What? With such detailed records, your testimony about the defendant must be thorough indeed. Actually, I witnessed much more than just the defendant. I saw the crime as it was being committed. I wrote down everything that I witnessed. What? If what you're saying is true, why have you waited until now to testify? We had initially concluded that the evidence alone was decisive enough. We saw no need for Mr. Rudolph to testify. However, that clearly changed after yesterday's trial. There was no way the prosecution wouldn't use eyewitness testimony from the start. That'd be another reason why he didn't take the stand yesterday. Very well, Mr. Rudolph. Please testify to the court about what you saw that night. Little extra bit between, I was transporting my client in my carriage that evening. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. This occurred at 1:08 a.m. Word that someone would think was amiss, I walked into the establishment to see what the commotion was about. That's when I saw the defendant. It was by the blue glow of the dining room lights. She had stabbed Flintheart, and her sword was shining with magical energy. She pulled her sword from Flintheart's back. As he turned to face her, she stabbed him again in his chest. She soon realized I had witnessed her heinous crime. She dropped her weapon, still impaled in Flintheart, and fled the scene. Incredible! Everything occurred as the witness described, and I see no room for debate. Of course, the evidence has always been irrefutable. I didn't remember seeing another carriage when I left to look for Celeste, but it was pretty dark. I could have just missed him. Celeste, did you see him when you left the tavern? No. I don't think I've ever met him before. Does that mean what I think it means? We shouldn't jump to conclusions. If he testified that you saw him, he's clearly lying. I just need to find out why. The defense may now begin their cross-examination. Man's got a lot to say. Hold it. Who was the passenger in your carriage? Oh well.
Objection!
Ooh! Stop. The identity of the passenger is irrelevant. The current witness is the person who observed the crime. If there's another person at the scene, they may also have crucial testimony. The passenger is under no obligation to testify before the court. The current witness's account of the events is more than adequate. I agree. I see no reason for Mr. Rudolph to disclose the identity of his client. 1:08 a.m. Hold it. I assume this disturbance was the argument between my client and her father. Yes, I heard two distinct voices, one young woman and an older man. Right, that also matched up with what the neighbors heard. What did you do after hearing this disturbance, Mr. Rudolph? Hold it. You stopped your carriage in the middle of a job. What did your passenger think of this? He took no issue with it. What kind of passenger would be okay with stopping mid-drive? The passenger's thoughts on the matter are irrelevant to his testimony, unless you have any hard evidence to prove otherwise. She objected whenever I brought up the passenger. There was something more there. Now then, Please tell us what you saw at this establishment, Mr. Rudolph. This is the heavy statement. You sound certain that you saw my client as the victim. How were you so sure it was them? Bernard McCoy and his daughter were well known to the town. Bernard made himself quite known in the region through his social activism. And Celeste tends to stand out whenever she walks through the streets. Is he hitting on me? It does make sense. You don't really look like the average commoner. Are you hitting on me? Be serious! Anyway, Mr. Rudolph, do you live in Cornhaven? I don't live there, but my work brings me into town quite frequently. The witness's place of residence has no bearing on his testimony. What matters is that he was there when the murder occurred. Steelwind kept deflecting questions about his life. Hold it. So you're saying that my defendant stabbed him twice with her sword? Yes, that's exactly what I saw. Smack. There's only one visible wound on the body. If you say is true, that means she stabbed him through the same wound. Isn't that extremely improbable? Stomp. Improbable, but not impossible. Maybe strange, but that's what the witness saw happen. She was reaching with that, but I wouldn't get anywhere unless I could prove he was lying. Hold it. Smack. You supposedly witnessed a murder and you let the perpetrator get away. I'm just a simple carriage driver. I have no way of combating an armed assailant. The witness also saw the defendant using magic. Would you really expect a chauffeur to subdue an armed mercenary? I guess not. He probably came up with a detailed story beforehand and wrote everything down. His quirk is the perfect cover for him to read over his notes. It'll probably be hard to catch him lying if he has a way to keep his story straight. It's actually just the opposite. This many details will be that much easier to find an inconsistency. Just need to find it. So blue glow and Mage Blade glows yellow.
Objection!
Rudolph, you testified that you saw my client murdering the victim. And you supposedly saw her casting magic while doing so. Yes, I could never forget such a grisly sight. That moment was burned into my memory. I see. Well, it's funny that you say that. What makes you say that? Smack. Because your entire testimony was a complete lie. What? You accusing the witness of perjury? Surely you know that such accusations can't be made lightly, Mr. Cuthbert. Miss Steelwind, the dining room lights are artificery devices that are powered by an arcane power cell. However, that same arcane power cell was broken during the time of the murder. Those lights had no energy and the room would have been pitch black. Witness couldn't have seen anything, much less a homicide. Wait, I can explain. There's no need, witness. You could have easily seen another source of light. McCoy's probably lit a candle or a lantern because of the blackout. Smack. Witness just clearly described a source of blue light. Rudimentary candle or lantern wouldn't emit a color like that. But witness was clearly mistaken. Witness records everything he sees in his notebook. He even remembers the exact time that the encounter occurred. So why would he be incorrect about such a clear and obvious detail? No. What the witness saw was some form of magic. Smack. Due to lack of power, it couldn't have been artificery. It must have been an arcane spell. That's it. Witness? I was mistaken about something. Please allow me to revise my testimony. Mr. Cuthbert, what are your thoughts? If he thinks he saw something different, then it's only fair to hear him out. It didn't matter. No matter what he came up with, I'd tear through each of his lies. Round 2, let's go. Oh, hello. I remember now. Yesterday they said that Bernard was killed using magic, yes? Must have seen Miss McCoy channeling a magic spell. The spell was called Mage Blade, wasn't it? That's it. The blue glow that I saw yesterday was created by Mage Blade. Aha, false. I see. So the blue light that you saw came from the defendant's magic. Aria knows he's full of shit now. If she didn't already. Mr. Cuthbert, you may proceed with your cross-examination. With pleasure. Should be a relatively easy win here. you changing your testimony based on yesterday's trial? No, that's not what this is. It's just that after thinking about it, I finally understood what I saw. Wouldn't it be pretty noticeable and distinct? The crime took place in a village of farmers, and the defendant's of magic wasn't known to many until that night. What reason would the witness have to think that he was witnessing magic? He would just think that the sword was wreathed into glow by some other means. That last part was a bit far-fetched, but I need something concrete to refute it. So you've been certain about the spell that you saw. How can we trust the rest of your testimony? Stop. Doesn't matter if he was unable to identify the specific spell. The only thing that matters is that he saw it happen. I wouldn't get anywhere until I could present a clear contradiction. Back. You still don't sound so sure of it yourself. I wasn't sure of it at first. And I remember that they found traces of magic at the crime scene. Didn't realize I was looking at a magic spell. Is it really so hard to believe? I suppose not. Not that I actually believed him. He just keeps telling lie after lie. She was trying to keep her composure, but her fists were firmly clenched. He's trying to cover up his mistake. I'm sure he's just making things up on the spot now. Doesn't know how magic works, but he barely understands what Mageblade even does. It's right that there had to be a flaw with his testimony. Bop, bop, bop. Tent Mageblade glows yellow. Objection! Rudolph, you don't know much about magic, do you? Of course not. Are you trying to say that I should have recognized Celeste's Mageblade? No, I admit that you probably wouldn't know what Mageblade looks like. It's exactly where you made your mistake. My mistake? Rudolph, if you were aware of how Mageblade works, then you would know that the spell emits a yellow radiant glow. Ooh. Banger. Great that the blue glow that you saw couldn't have possibly been Mageblade. This is ridiculous. What's the significance of seeing a blue glow instead of a yellow one? It's extremely significant, prosecutor. When he saw a blue magical glow, then he must have witnessed a different spell at the scene. Preposterous. We don't have any evidence to support that claim. The blue light made a large impression on the witness. Wrote it down in his notebook. He had mentioned the color in both his testimonies. I find it hard to believe that he'd be mistaken about something like that. Get him. So what did you see, Mr. Rudolph? Did you see my client at the scene, casting a spell that she couldn't possibly cast? Did you actually see another mage at the scene? Well...
Jackson!
Your Honor, the defense is completely out of line. Smack. Let me remind you that perjury is a crime, Rudolph. If you are found to have lied in your testimony, I will personally see to it that you're prosecuted. No, wait! Now that is quite enough of that. Hello there. Garrick Pierce had stood up within the gallery and walked to the witness stand, shoving Rudolph out of his way. He'd broken several laws with that one act alone, but no one moved to stop him. Bailiff looked at the judge wearily and awaited instruction. The judge said nothing. His eyes simply narrowed as he waited for Pierce's next move. Pierce, there is no need for you to take the stand. Nonsense. I have nothing to hide. I will not stand idly by while your case falls apart. Seeing that for the first time, the prosecutor had lost control of the room. I like the tone of this. Is the meaning of this Miss Steelwind? This is Garrick Pierce, Your Honor. I am the Honorable Lord of Cornhaven and many other villages in that region. I'm afraid I must apologize. These misunderstandings have been entirely my fault. What do you mean, Lord Pierce? You see, Rudolph was not the one who witnessed the crime that fateful night. It was me. I was the one who saw that gruesome attack. I had my driver report the body so that I could remain anonymous. Smack. Are you saying that you had Rudolph lie for you? I simply dictated to him what I saw and had him repeat that to the law enforcement. With what's been in the news lately, it simply wouldn't do for a member of the nobility to appear publicly in court. But alas, it appears the time for discretion has passed. Lord Pierce, regardless of your good intentions, this is a very clear act of perjury. I understand, and I shall accept the consequences of that. However, I would be remiss if Rudolph's shoddy testimony allowed that girl to escape justice. Please, Your Honor, allow me to testify as to what I saw that night. Very well. This is highly irregular, but I believe that court will benefit from your testimony. However, know that this misconduct will not be without consequences. Very well. The look on the Lord's face. It's clear he would only get off. Slap on the wrist. Consequences? What a joke. Ooh. Is this a separate testimony theme for nobility? That's friggin' wild. On the night of the murder, I found myself unable to sleep, so I took a leisurely carriage ride round Cornhaven. After passing by the McCoy Tavern when I heard a loud commotion from within the building. Curious, I stopped my carriage and took a single step inside the establishment, and it's when I saw the scene inside. I saw the defendant stabbing that poor man with her sword. Garrick Pierce. He's a member of the nobility. Also means he's a mage. Does that mean? There's no doubt about it. He's the only other person who could have left those traces of transmutation at the crime scene. He has to be the mage that we're looking for. Sorry, this must be a lot for you right now. Don't worry about me. Just take him down. Hold it. That seems like a strange way to pass the time. Not that I believed him for a second. The witness's eccentricities are beside the point. What matters is that he was clearly at the scene. I wouldn't quite put it that way, however... I'm guessing this commotion was the argument between my client and the victim. One would conclude that, yes. We've gone over this point several times, but their voices were raised loudly during their argument. It's not unreasonable to say that the witness heard them from his carriage. Took a single step inside, saw the scene. If he was at the tavern entrance, that would mean he would be where the W token is. You saw the entire scene from the entrance. It would be quite dark considering the lights weren't operational. And if my client were using Mage Blade at the time. Ah, of course, I'd forgotten that detail. I couldn't see what was happening, so I used my magic to illuminate the scene. You used magic at the crime scene? Yes. Hey, Brett, clearly. I conjured a blue light to illuminate the scene. The same blue light must have been what my driver saw. I thought that Rudolph didn't witness the crime at all. Yet, yes, Mr. Rudolph must have seen the blue light from the carriage. Because of that, he made that detail a part of his testimony earlier. That made sense. Rudolph was so sure he saw a blue light. It would have been strange if you were lying about that. Which spell did you use to illuminate the crime scene? It was the Conjure Light spell. As long as the caster concentrates on the spell, the mode of blue magical light will be centered above their head. Mode of light provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster and no further. Your Honor, if the witness used magic at the crime scene, then I'd like for his spell compendium to be added to the court record. I see no reason to invade the witness's privacy over a trivial illumination spell. I agree. The defense will need a stronger reason to requisition the witness's spell compendium. Right you are, Your Honor. Your wisdom is truly fitting of your station. Oh, shut up. Update testimony. Casting a spell seems like a pretty significant detail to forget. For you, maybe, but for a practiced mage like myself, using magic isn't as natural as moving my arm. Could be possible. I use the Eye of Horus so much that I'm barely conscious of it half the time. Let me guess, did she stab him from the opposite sides each time? Yes, now that you mention it, I do recall that happening. Although I have no idea why she would do that. This can prove that she didn't do exactly what I described. I suppose not. At least not yet, anyway. He keeps saying that he stood at the entrance the entire time. That has to be a lie. Right. If he stabbed Linhardt, he would have been a lot closer to him. Why'd I prove that, though? No, I don't want that. I'll just put it here. 1, 2, 3. Wouldn't actually be able to see it. Now the question is, do we present... do we show? This?
Objection!
Yes. Pierce, you said that you illuminated the scene from the tavern entrance. Did you take a single step inside the building? Of course not. I remember it very clearly. I only stood at the entrance. You can help me go over this map at the tavern. Take a look at the map. Place you right here where the W is. Of course. Do I need to repeat myself? I find it interesting that you illuminated the crime scene from all the way back there. Considering that conjure light only illuminates an area within 15 feet of the caster. What? Huh. Pierce, conjure light doesn't behave like a normal light source. It's back. It only provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster. If you had stayed at the entrance, your spell wouldn't have shown you anything.
Objection!
Spell's range is irrelevant. We've already established that the victim would have been illuminated by Mage Blade. This clearly stated that he couldn't see what was happening. That was why he cast Conjure Light in the first place. What does that mean? Lord Pierce, did you illuminate the crime scene or not? Well, I can't answer that question for you, Your Honor. The witness did illuminate the scene of the crime. He illuminated it because he was standing right where it happened. Mr. Cuthbert, what are you getting at? Your Honor, defense would like to formally accuse Garrick Pierce of murdering Flintheart McCoy. Hold on for a moment. This is absurd. I could have easily used a different spell to illuminate the room. And which spell would that be, Pierce? The specific spell escapes me. I'm not sure which one I used now that I think about it. You idiot. Maybe we can figure it out together. When you relinquish your spell compendium to the court. Steelwind, say something! If you had listened to my instructions, you wouldn't be in this situation. You've made your bed, now lie in it. Steelwind, you treacherous! Oh. That is an expression. That's enough. It appears that the prosecution has no objections. Everything that has occurred, I'm afraid I must ask Lord Pierce to relinquish his spell compendium to the court. We did it! We got a spell compendium! That this case was as good as ours. Pressed it. Whoa. Conjure light, conjure water, frost wave. Vapor liquid. Or was it? She didn't even try to stop me from taking his spell compendium. How did she do just that? That just to spite Pierce. Visual effect around their hand. Water magically flowed the caster's hand. Immediately frozen. Your Honor, I've looked at the spells in Lord Pierce's compendium. Conjure Light is the only spell he can cast that would shed a blue light. It's clear that his testimony and many of his statements are false. Such insolence! Lord Pierce could very well be a suspect in the murder of Flintheart McCoy. That this presents enough reasonable doubt to acquit the defendant. Mr. Cuthbert, I acknowledge that Lord Pierce's actions are quite suspect. However, I will not pass a verdict just yet. There is much more we need to learn. What? That's not how it works. You prove that there's reasonable doubt. That should be enough to acquit me, right? A normal case maybe, but the situation is different for this trial. The public won't accept an unsolved homicide using magic. So we can unequivocally prove your innocence, the court will keep drawing things out. What? But that's not fair! Just how our system works. The kingdom has always cared more about easing public tension than delivering justice. Are you serious? The court will be suspending the trial of Celeste McCoy until further notice. You have no choice but to give the Inquisition time to investigate Lord Pierce as a possible suspect.
Objection!
A possible suspect. The very idea of that is preposterous, Your Honor. What else does she have up her sleeve? Let's revisit the basic facts of this case. Flintheart McCoy was murdered using a blade with a transmutation spell active on it. Mr. Cuthbert, why don't you tell me the spells that Lord Pierce knows? The spells are... Prestidigitation, Conjure light, conjure water, frost wave, shape liquid. Wait a minute. You've realized it too, haven't you? Witness doesn't know any transportation spells that can be channeled through a solid object. Oh. I keep highlighting that spell because I remember the result of the demo. That can't be right. Oh. Ah, you're right. You're absolutely right, Steelwind. I see. If all that is true, I will still leave the defendant as the only possible killer. But he was the only other mage there. It has to be him. He doesn't know any transmutation spells that can be cast on your sword. Can't prove that he stabbed him while using magic. Wait, how did he do it then? She was right. How did he do it? Since the beginning, I've been bothered by the traces of transmutation magic surrounding Flintheart's body. Originally, I thought that the killer had somehow magically altered the sword and the surrounding wooden floor. If Pierce's spells could do something like that. His transmutation traces were scattered all around the place. They didn't even fully cover the sword. What if he didn't use a sword? What if he used something else? The defense did cast some doubt on the witness's testimony. Nevertheless, I must conclude that he couldn't have possibly committed the murder. That in mind. Please wait, Your Honor. It's back. We still can't rule out Pierce as a suspect just yet. What are you on about? Lady Steelwind said it herself. Oh. None of my spells could be used to stab Flimnart. Do you know any spells that can be channeled through a blade? You didn't use a metal blade, did you? What nonsense is this? The autopsy report clearly states that the wound was created by a blade. If he didn't channel magic through a blade, how could he have possibly committed a crime? Steelwind, Garrick Pierce didn't kill the victim using a sword. He killed him using an object shaped exactly like a sword. What? I don't quite understand, Mr. Cuthbert. Your Honor, I'd like to bring your attention to Pierce's spell compendium. Garrick Pierce knows a seemingly insignificant spell called Shape Liquid. With it, he can control any liquid and mold it into any complex shape he wants. And even freeze it, locking that shape in place. If he had enough water, he could create a sword made purely out of ice. No, it's possible that he... What do you have to say for yourself, Lord Pierce? Pierce's breathing became frantic. He clearly wasn't prepared to be backed into a corner like this. He'd feel his frustration, stress, and fear emanating through the Eye of Horus. The board was set to deliver the final blow. Whoa, shit! Let's go! I'll tell you exactly what I have to say, you commoner. I'm not the one on trial here. We're here because that bastard child didn't know her place. The girl used our holy arts to murder her father because she lacked the noble's temperament. Oh boy. That wasn't right. Oh boy. Oh, we can't save doing this. Oh boy. I seem to witness the whole murder, but I've already proved they did in the last testimony. All I do is show him the evidence that proved him wrong. False. Failed. Okay, we just restart. Hmm. That's an almost... Okay. We already proved why he was wrong, because Conjure Light only proves up to 15, goes up to 15 feet. How, pray tell, did you see everything? I need to put more thought into, what's being said here. It's the, sort of logic that will click if I am thoroughly paying attention to have my brain turned on all the way. How, pray tell, did you see everything? You recall you testified that you only took a single step inside the inn. However, you could have needed to be within 15 feet to see my client with Conjure Light. This again? If you're going to keep treading on that one detail, then admit it. I stepped further into the inn. Get that out of my testimony. Oh, because I knew that you went to more, but you stood against me. Lord Pierce. But you didn't just withhold that detail from your testimony, did you? You testified the contrary. You committed perjury, Pierce. Plain and simple. That's... Let's not stop there. For your story to be true, you would have needed to be within 15 feet of my client. According to your testimony, my client had just finished murdering her father. Wouldn't she have noticed you? Aye. If you were that close, then surely we were close enough to apprehend her. So why didn't you? Don't you have a duty to your citizens you lord over? Shut your filthy mouth! That woman was armed. I have no reason to put my life in danger. I was terrified when I saw her holding that bloody sword. He just murdered a man and might have been next. The sword was left in him. But that can't be right, can it, Lord Pierce? This photo of the crime scene shows that the sword was left inside the victim's body. How could she still be wielding it if it never left her body? What? Oh, damn you. Damn you. Steelwind, why'd you say anything? What? Steelwind froze. Anyone had the advantage, she always maintained her usual poise. Now she was scrambling for something to say, nothing came to her. Lord Pierce, please, calm down. How can I remain calm when this charlatan is trying to frame me? This is a complete travesty. I came here to reveal the truth and testify against that criminal. What do I get instead? Slander from some lowly peasant. Smack. You talk about justice, but you've committed several acts of perjury to twist the outcome of this trial. You don't care about justice. You're just here to cover up your crime. You filthy little... Submitted Pierce, you created a makeshift sword with shapeless liquid and used it to impale Flintheart. You shoved my client's sword into the wound, while the remains of the real murder weapon melted. You thought it was a perfect crime, didn't you? Aye. What? Lord Pierce? My apologies, Your Honor. Just that I realized something absolutely hilarious. Francis put forward an interesting theory, but there's one problem with it. And what's that? I think you said it yourself. You shoved my client's sword into the wound with the remains of while the remains of the real murder weapon melted. Thought it was a perfect crime, didn't you? You're right, it would have been a perfect crime. Certainly evidence to support that theory would have evaporated with that melted blade. What? No. That's right. Magical traces don't spread through physical contact. They are only detected on the objects they are cast on. If he used a blade of water to kill Flintheart, all the water he used to make that sword would have evaporated by now. That would mean there would be nothing left of the murder weapon. You spun quite the tale today, but in the end you don't have a shred of evidence to support it, do you? You have nothing. Is there anything we can do? I became quiet. Looking through each piece of evidence I'd found, they all fit into place except for one piece. Tyrion? Any worries she had disappeared. She probably saw the look on my face. It was familiar to her. It expressed the same quiet certainty I had every time I defeated her. I wasn't sure how, but there was something left of the murder weapon. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been any traces of transmutation at the crime scene. What is this? You can glare at me all you want, it won't change the fact that you were lost. I despise people like you. You twist this kingdom's laws to serve your own ends. You trample on the lives of the people you're supposed to be serving and protecting. As long as I'm standing in this courtroom, I will never let that happen again. Ooh!
Thought can remain concealed.
Ooh! What did I just do? I could feel my head being dragged to the ground, like it was about to burst. At the same time, I felt an extreme sense of clarity. So nothing could be concealed from the eye of Horus now. Once again, I saw Pierce's thoughts, but the sensation felt sharper than it usually was. I could feel his mind reacting to mine, as if it were a pond rippling around me as I stepped through it. I wondered, could I reach further in and pull out something I could use? Ooh! Activated a new ability through the Eye of Horus. You can temporarily project items into the witness's mind and read their thoughts about it. Oh! These thoughts can sometimes reveal new information and grant you insight. Fill the inside gate to proceed. Alright. For all the trouble I went to, I can't believe that boy figured out which spell I used. Well, no matter. Not as if there's any evidence that implicates me. Like that old fool had that bottle of water on him. A bottle of water? Well then. As riveting as this has been, I believe it's time for me to be on my way. Now wait a minute, Pierce. What is it now, you cretin? I'll say it as many times as you need to hear. You're right, Pierce. If you used shaped liquid on a body of water, the murder weapon would have evaporated entirely. See, we could have come to this conclusion on our own, but as a tutorial for a new mechanic that we're going to get more of, that works. I like it. You're right, Pierce. If you used shaped liquid on a body of water, the murder weapon would have evaporated entirely. Conceptually, it's really interesting. Bravo. It seems you've finally gotten that fact through your thick head. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Pierce. What if you didn't use shaped liquid on a body of water? What if it were another type of liquid? What are you going on about? Pierce, shaped liquid doesn't just work on water. It works on all kinds of liquids. There's a shattered bottle next to the body. Liquid you used to form the murder weapon, it came from that bottle, didn't it? You're probably wary of leaving evidence at the crime scene, but you decided to use any liquid you could find there. Luckily for you, the victim was holding the perfect quantity of liquid in his hands. That begs the question, if we had someone analyze the broken pieces of the bottle, would he find traces of transmutation magic? Do you think you can bluff me? We've already established that any water I supposed to be shaped would have been evaporated. Except that liquid contained in the bottle wasn't water, it was tea. So, what difference does that make? A blade of ice made out of water would have evaporated entirely. A blade of frozen tea would leave a dried residue. The tea wouldn't completely disappear. No. I wonder why there were so many traces of the transmutation scattered around the crime scene. When I felt the texture of the floor, I thought a transmutation spell had caused some sort of chemical reaction with the wood. The real answer was a lot simpler than that. The transmutation spell didn't alter the floor at all, it was just a stain for the spilled tea. But if we compared the tea residue on the floor to the residue inside the bottle, we'd find traces of transmutation on them. There's your murder weapon, Pierce. You have nowhere left to go. That's checkmate. Oh, glowing eyes, finger point. Oh, that's cold. I like it. Bailiff, send for Orm. The Inquisition needs to analyze the crime scene at once. We need to confirm the defense's theory. The time window to detect traces of magic is closing. I have a report from the Inquisition. What does it say? The traces on the sword, body, even the floor, they all came from tea residue. We found those same traces on the shards of the broken bottle, too. It's undeniable. Someone cast a spell on the liquid contained within that bottle. The defendant has no such spell. You really did it, didn't you? Why? As if someone like you would ever understand. Understand? You murdered my dad. Murdered. Murdered! I murdered her. I can't believe it. And she's dead. Her smile, her beautiful voice, it's all gone. Oh shit. The local lord and his magic. I deserve death. Stop this nonsense. Father! You're grieving, but it will pass. She was only a commoner. No, Father, I loved her and I killed her. Garrick, you sweet innocent child. You can... Inserting my nobility voice here. You loved her, like you love a pet dog or something, my child. Flowers can be beautiful and bring you joy, but you call it murder when you accidentally step on one. These people, these peasants, they resemble us, but you know deep in your heart that they aren't like us. Cold. What? We have the scaled Lord's favor, and they do not. They were created to serve us, to be utilized by those of us who matter. Jesus. Father, don't fret so much of a simple commoner. Might explode till I've completely forgotten about that wretched thing. How could I have been so blind? She was a simple flower, nothing but a worthless peasant. He's so normal. They're all just peasants, all of them. It's murder to protect my kingdom. It's murder to pull weeds where they blot my land. The fool of a man was spreading poison, and I did my duty by removing him. You're a monster. I'm a nobleman, a chosen vessel of the scaled Lord's will. Oh, nothing. Honestly think you can indict me? My word carries more power than 100 of yours. Bailiff, escort Pierce to a holding cell. Steelwind? First-degree murder is punishable by execution, Lord Pierce. I suggest you remain silent, lest you incriminate yourself further. You can't be serious. You, of all people, must understand the position I was in. Your father knows what it takes to retain order. Not for me. Shut your insidious mouth. Shut your filthy whore mouth, Pierce. I'll never understand your sick, disgusting mind. I'd sooner slit my own throat. Well, what are you all waiting for? Take him away. Yes! Take him away at once! I can't believe it. He actually won. Tyrion, I know, Celeste. We didn't get a verdict. Tyrion. Teary-eyed, she threw her arms around me, embracing me tightly. We stood there, wide-eyed, looking toward the gallery members who were staring at us. I was unsure of where to put my hands. What was remarkable? Mr. Mora, I'll be honest. When I realized that the murder weapon had evaporated, I thought that the case was over. And you did a great job of turning that around. It was just luck. If he'd used water, things would have ended very differently. It had nothing to do with luck, not this time. You were able to deduce which liquid he used. You did it just by looking at a few shards of broken glass. I knew your detective skills were good, but that was incredible. It wasn't just deduction, though. I did something with the Eye of Horus today, something that I'd never done before. I had an amazing ability, but I was starting to realize that I knew next to nothing about it. To use it effectively, I needed to learn more. You were all quite lively. There's no need for such hostility. I wouldn't expect any less from the Hound of the Eye Taker. The what? What did she mean by that? That's Mr. Moore, but she avoided eye contact with me. It was subtle, but her posture stiffened and her brow clenched ever so slightly. Didn't see any thoughts through the Eye of Horus. I must admit I was hoping to test my mind against yours directly. However, your protege proved to be a worthy adversary. Is this some kind of game to you? You almost condemned that innocent girl to death. Courts operate by having two powers of opposition. When those powers are balanced, justice prevails like it did today. Your victory today was just the system working as intended. Working as intended? You know very well our system only exists to protect your people. You can act as sanctimonious as you want. It doesn't mean you change. That doesn't change that with each passing day your father butchers more and more innocents. True and true. I know. I'm not my father. I walk a different path. You walk a prosecutor's path? Hey! I know you have no real reason to believe me, but I'll also let my actions speak for me. Look forward to doing battle with you again, Tyrion Cuthbert. Stephen, why did you arrest Pierce at the end of the trial? I don't understand. He was right in a way. You didn't need to do that. He openly admitted to first-degree murder. Why wouldn't I have him arrested? Never mind then. I'm also looking forward to facing you again. Good. I hope to see you soon. Hey! Still couldn't tell what she was thinking, even with the Eye of Horus. She definitely wasn't the bloodthirsty killer that her father was. That could have killed the mood, didn't it? Not at all. I think we should celebrate. What are you thinking? This high-class restaurant in the upper quarter of the Rathholm. Usually they serve nobles, but let anyone in if they have enough gold. Wait, Do we have enough gold? I have some connections with the staff there, don't worry about it. Oh, we're eating good today. These last 2 days marked the beginning of my journey into the world of law and magic. Such a system was broken, rotten from the inside, but I had a voice now. I would never stop fighting. With my skills in the Eye of Horus, I knew nothing could stop me. At least that's what I'd hoped. This feeling, I knew it. This radiant soul is finally ripe for the reaping. Oh dear. Even this small speck of time has felt like an eternity. I can't wait any longer. I can't wait to see that wretched light drain from his eyes. Hello? What? Hello? William, please, I implore you. I know you're excited. Don't you think we're moving far too quickly? Oh, hello. Lloyd von Sanctus. Head of House von Sanctus and the Duke of the Commerce. His noble house one of the 4 pillar families. Family responsible for managing trade and commerce throughout Wyvern God. Nonsense. Everything has been going according to plan. House Frege, Duke of Finance, another one of the 4. Tax collection, exchange of resources. Lloyd von Sanctus shifted nervously, his rat-like posture practically shuddering. William Frege, on the other hand, only seemed bothered by Lloyd's incessant chittering. They both held the status of Duke, but only William wore it, rather than the other way around. I've advocated for the Arcurians more than anyone else, but I haven't had enough time to look into them. The Arcurians are an efficient yet simple folk. The only thing they care about is filling their coffers, and I'm quite proficient in that language. What of the Grand General? What do you think pays for all of his soldiers? Maybe we'll get the ground forces, but his extended family is something else entirely. We threaten them like this, and they will respond in kind. Loyalty can be bought, the same as any other commodity. Every house's weak link. It's only a matter of time before I find his. William, enough! This meeting is an opportunity for us to finally pull the Minister of Justice to our side. They're both squaring up. They're about to grap. They're about to throw down. Oh, hello. I will not squander it. We will take Wyvern Guard from Lucio today. Oh, shit. Grow a spy while you're at it. You're a Duke for crying out loud. Lloyd just exhaled deeply as he followed William into the meeting room. Coral and Sybil. Oh, and they've arrived. Ma'am? Head of House Sybil, Minister of Justice. The noble house is one of the 4 pillar families, most powerful. Most powerful of them. She's the... She's the her family's the head of the legal system here, essentially. See? You've nothing to worry about, Your Grace. Remus Virgile. Seems that the Minister of Justice and the High Speaker had already arrived. Corlid Sybil and Theon Arceus are the most powerful people in this room, in theory. They represented the justice system and the church, respectively. Both of their heads were always in the clouds. Their disposition made them more akin to cattle that could be distracted and coaxed with shiny trinkets. Corlid was always ruminating about the fate of the cosmos. He often confused astrology with philosophy. Theon was blinded by his obsession with the Scale Lord and his stories. William was almost certain that his noble house had written half of those stories. Ah, I was worried that something had befallen your convoy. I've been praying to the Scale Lord for your safety. Church of Bahamut! You two are late. Unknown. Royal advisor to the King of Wyvern God. The looks of it, we are not the only ones. Could the Grand General not be asked to show up? It is because of his foolishness that we've gathered. That's not entirely true. Really? What of his recent bloodbath in the countryside? One of the grapevines says that his men tossed a clergyman from the top of a bell tower. The man is so bloodthirsty we should check his pantry for the children he slaughtered. William! We have assembled here to discuss the lack of unity between the 4 pillars. Unity, spare me. House Frege, House von Sanctus, and House Sibyl are closer than they've ever been. The Steelwinds are the odd one out. Unity requires trust, and he has done nothing but spill the blood of the people we've trusted him to protect. His recent actions have been excessive. No one here is disputing that. My dear Duchess, his excess has merchants refusing to move caravans through the countryside. Commoners are crying for justice and turning to insurrection, that the Grand General is supposed to be putting a stop to. The other nations whisper about us like we're barbarians, state-dressed in fancy robes. Trade has slowed. The Scaled Lord teaches that prosperity is a covenant between unfree man and Wyvern-guard. House Steelwind carries the burden of protecting Wyvern-guard's borders. As mishandled as these situations have been, he's not massacring these villages for his own amusement. He could have fooled me. A leader wins respect and loyalty. He doesn't hold his people hostage. Mark my words, if this bloodshed continues, the commoners will revolt. These recent insurrections are just the start, and this will only continue if we allow Lucio's daughter to take the throne. If we're discussing Lady Steelwind's marriage to the Crown Prince, surely he should be a part of this meeting as well. Please, what can that bright-eyed boy contribute to the conversation? The only thing he's good for is holding fundraisers and cutting red ribbons. William, he's the heir to the throne. The true rulers of Wyvern-guard are all assembled in this room. I'll admit, the House of Lords has received more petitions against Lucio than any other general in Wyvern-guard's history. The Church has also been unable to collect as many tithes as before. Even the most faithful are asking whether the Scaled Lord would support such cruelty. Their fate is faltering. This cannot be allowed to continue. Oh, look who finally decided to show up. Oh shit. I know I'm late. I was caught in a debrief. I find this gathering to be pointless anyway. How dare you, Grand General? Have you no sense of respect? What use would respect be to ones who can't command it? You demand my respect, Master of Abjuration? Well, leave me alone, Lucio. We were just discussing your recent catastrophe in the countryside. What I've heard, the death toll has been astronomical. It should be at your record. If you have something to say, then say it plainly, Frege. House Frege would like to move to have the Steelwinds strip of their authority and control of Wyvern-guard's military. Lloyd, Corden, and the Church agree with me on this matter. Is that so? I mean, we of House von Sanctus stand with House Frege on this matter. I'm sorry, Lucia, but it's difficult to argue against what the reports have been saying. I will bring this matter to the House of Lords. We will hold a vote. And the House of Lords should know about what my agents have discovered. Eastern kingdoms have joined the Union. What? Surely this can't be true. It is. I'm sure the Ordo Australis will be announcing it publicly within the week. Wyvern-guard is now the only nation in the world that hasn't joined their alliance. Correct. The only thing acting as a deterrent to our enemies is the high evocation magic of House Steelwind. Do you think the House of Lords will be willing to oust the most powerful war mages from our ranks? Lucio. If you're done gnashing your teeth, William, I have to meet with the rest of my house. I need to prepare in case the Luminites become bold enough to bring war to the western border. Lucio, wait! Damn it all! In front of those Orientals so friendly with the Ordo Australis. I can't believe the Luminites would suffer the company of those mud-eating stuff. Oh boy. Actually, their culture is very rich. I, for one, quite enjoy many of their... Shut up, Lloyd! Shut up, Lloyd! This corner of the Four Pillars is all racist. We'll need to expedite our plans. What? Get the Arcane to the line. I will have words with them. You have business with Arcaris? We are brokering a trade deal. I'm sure the House of Lords will be seeing it soon. It seems the cosmos is in our favor then. They're the only ally we have left. Stay safe, Corden. You too, Lloyd. Please tell me these stories aren't true. Lucio. You already know the answer, Your Grace. How could you? I thought you never got involved in matters of the state. People are dying, Lucio. Children are dying under your watch. Do you truly think me capable of such atrocities, Your Grace? If you do, then strike me down now. You have the power to do so. You know I wouldn't do that, Lucio. Stay out of my way. Okay, what's the story, then? What's become of all of you? The Royal Advisor deal is intriguing. Pierce, you have a visitor. It's Tywin's brat again. I'm in no mood for the sanctimonious lecture. Gary? Jolene! Huh. Time has not been kind to you. Excuse you. Ah, Miss Half, you know that I still get mistaken for 20 everywhere I go. I suppose some things never change. Let's get on with it then. What? Go on, yell at me, curse at me. Let anyone would lift a finger if you open this cell and beat me half to death. So, do it. I forgive you. What? If you for killing my husband, Garrick. Have you lost your mind? Do you think I feel any remorse? Do you think I'm still that weak child? I just don't have the energy for it. I saw what that resentment did to my husband. It festered inside of him like an infection. I am the only family Celeste has left. If only you knew where she really came from. I don't need to. She's reckless, stubborn, and a little spoiled too. She takes after me in a lot of ways. She takes a little too much after her father. But she's a good person. She's the kindest person I've ever known, and I'm proud to call her my daughter. And you're a fool. Gary, Flintheart didn't blame me for what happened to Effie. That's a lie. All he ever did was blame me. He didn't blame you until you shut yourself away in your manor. We were all in so much pain over what happened, and you abandoned us. And you expect me to apologize for that? Effie always loved that spell. What? Do you remember how she danced at the lake when you shaped the water around her feet? I thought that spell was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. That person died a long time ago. Effie? Or you? You're a weed. Excuse me? That's all you are, Jolene. A wilting weed on the road, waiting to be trampled over by this cold, wretched world. Do you think yourself virtuous for spewing out such empty platitudes? Admit it, you hate me, you despise me. If you could stomach it, you'd climb into this cell and punch a blade into my chest, just like I did your husband. No, right now I only feel sorry for you. Yeah, if anything, that family connection bit that we saw just makes you kind of sad. I never thought you were weak. You were the kindest person I knew. I miss that man, but you're right. He's gone now. He's fallen to the nobility brain rot. Good luck with your trial, Garrick. I don't need luck. With my connections, I'll be out of the cell by week's end. By week's end. Ah! I'll show you. I'll show all of you. Your daughter will be one of us. Will be of use to me yet. Concerning? Very concerning. Presents some very intriguing. Ooh. Alright, let's proceed. How are we going to get all this out on time? Oh. The myriad of empty plates laid around the kitchen filled Valerie with dread. It was almost time for breakfast, and soon the students would be upon them. Oh. Twins! Valentina quickly passed by her sister as she snatched the tray off the counter. She was jumping between multiple stations, but even then, each movement she made was quick and purposeful. She was a machine. Valentina just had to turn each gear single-handedly. In her hands, it ran like clockwork, most of the time. Wow! Are you finished planning the smoked salmon? Right, sorry. Valerie stared at the excess assortment of food they had prepared for the noble children. She grimly remembered the years she and her sister spent starving in an orphanage. Are they even going to eat all of this? They won't. They'll taste a few of them and throw the rest out. to be perfect when it hit the cafeteria. Okay. Valerie watched as her sister lifted each of the croissant slices, measuring their width against her index finger. These slices are too thick. It'll overpower the salmon. Does that really matter? Don't they really like their croissants? Trust me. The ratio's off. They will make sure we know. Some of these kids would have us executed for bad plating if they could. Before Valerie could respond, one of the kitchen timers went off. Valentina quickly rushed to the stove and began making melting butter in a pot. About that, one of House Frega's attendants came by earlier. Valentina barely glanced away from the pot as she poured a bowl of eggs into it and began beating them. Face tightened at the mention of Lady Frega. Her whisk moved slightly more violently. Oh, what does Miriam want now? She's asking for roasted peacock. For breakfast? She also wants honey-lacquered brioche bread topped with Arcurian whipped cream and Ixian strawberries. That gets even better! Just grab me some normal stuff in the pantry while you can. You know that spoiled brat can't tell the difference. Here, do these eggs for me. Valentina handed her sister the pot of scrambled eggs. Valerie's shoulders tensed. Scrape with a knife, but her forays with the stove never ended well. What? But... Stove's on low heat, just keep stirring. Okay. Valentina's mind was already on the next task. She entered the freezer and dragged out the butchered peacock. Luckily they just received the meat shipment that morning. It hadn't fully frozen yet. They tossed it onto the counter and began weaving cooking twine around its legs. A scaled lord. These kids have no idea how good they have it. Valentina Yanis was the Imperial Academy's head chef, and patissier, brewer, butcher, and saucier. The staff that used to fulfill each of those roles were let go one by one, working Professor Bellwether and her disdain for the commoners. At first the twins had welcomed the chance to cook for the children, the nobles. The pay was astounding. But it wasn't long before they discovered why this kitchen had seen such a rapid turnover. You two. How's breakfast going? Caddy's custodian trudged in the kitchen. His posture was heavy. His eyes were half dead. Same as usual, Jan. How about you? Same as usual. Yeah? Valentina recalled how many times she caught Jan napping in the pantry. Oh, Jean, I picked some of last night's risotto on the counter. Now the eggs! Oh, right. Oh, no. Valentina grimaced as she looked over at the pot of eggs. The liquid was no longer emulsified. It was still edible, but it wasn't perfect. Something below the Imperial Academy's self-imposed standards. Oh, come on, I have to start over now. Only left them for a second. You two look busy, I'm sorry. Valentina pressed her hands together, closed her eyes, and took a deep breath. Fine. Just help me cook the next batch while I grab the ingredients from Miriam's food. Okay, Al. Oh, gods! Valentina saw her sister tense up. What was it now? Catherine is coming. She doesn't look happy. Are you serious? What was that busy little... Ma'am? Hello, Miss Bellwether. Smooth. Professor Bellwether. What can I do for you today, Professor? Care to explain what this is? No! The professor presented Valentina with the eggs benedict that she'd personally prepared earlier. Looked perfect. Exactly what she asked for, too. I'm sorry, is there something wrong with your breakfast? These eggs are mushy and undercooked. There's no crisp to them at all. So poached eggs, Professor? Poached? You know, it's when you boil egg in a pot of simmering water and... Boiled? Do you think this is whatever shelter Redmond plucked you out of? I won't swallow another piece of this rustic grime. I expect a meal befitting of the Imperial Academy. Do it right this time. Right away, Professor. Valentina thought of slapping that snooty attitude right off her face. It would be easy. She could have done it right in that moment. What did she have to lose? They were already planning on firing her anyway. She took a breath. It was worth drawing the ire of Bellwether's friends on the school board. Some professor who doesn't know what Eggs Benedict is. These stupid mages wouldn't know good food if it walked up to them and jumped down their throats. The Walking Dead. Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright, now is a good time. There are many questions at hand here. We will cross that bridge next time. Until then. Until then, I'm very curious to see where that goes.